How you doing? Another wonderful day. So how's everybody been this week? Hope they've been okay and no one's had any real problems and everybody's nice and healthy and happy. So that'll be a good thing. Just a couple of news items. One's it's a bit long. G'day, Jürgen. How you going, mate? It's a long one. It might be a little bit boring, but g'day, Maggie. How are you, Maggie? Thanks for coming along. I've done a couple of reports on this, and it's come up with quite a few other things. And I will warn you that a couple of but it's a little bit long and drawn out. But anyhow, we'll start it off. Because I can't read comments while I've got pictures up on the screen and that. So anyhow, right, we'll start it off. Let's get the right pictures in the right spots, and once again, we're talking about mosquitoes. Not only dengue fever. There's malaria, Zika, yellow fever, and Chaihika. So they're deadly little buggers. But anyhow, it may be a thing of the past as trials raise the hopes. A 100 dead in the Philippines, threefold increases in Vietnam, hospitals overflowing in capacity in Malaysia, Myanmar, and southern Thailand. This year, climate has increased the amount of mosquitoes. The World Mosquito Program has developed a method where both the male and female are infected with a disease-resistant bacteria called Wolbachia and released back into the environment. The young mosquitoes actually are born with that Wolbachia in their systems, and it makes it harder for them to pass on anything. So that in itself is a technologically good thing. But in Thailand, Dr. Suwanachai from the Department of Disease Control said over 10 people in central Thailand had contracted Chaihika since July. People should take precautions. Those with high fever and joint pain should seek urgent medical advice. But in the battle against mosquitoes, the malarias and all the rest, in Myanmar, several drug-resistant strains of malaria have taken hold, not only in Myanmar, but right across Southeast Asia. A drop in the deaths from disease in Myanmar, 2010 to 2017, is credited the Rural Health Services and the use of bed nets. So that's, it's something simple, but obviously it works. So the World Health, I've mixed it up. The world malaria is expected to be wiped out by 2050. So that's very interesting, because with their fight against, the mosquito, with the fog and all of those kind of things, it's come down to the laboratory. Looks like the one that's going to do it. Because the biggest problem with the World Health Organization and all of that is the drug-resistant strains that are now coming forth. So there are predictions that will go up and infect the African continent. And that would result in 90% of the world by the time you take into Southeast Asia. So it's pretty serious. So Myanmar has engaged some help with NASA to map mosquito populations and movements due to climate and climatic changes. That's pretty fantastic, you know, when you think that with that modelling that they can look at mosquitoes and things like that, because remembering that that's all done from outer space. But, you know, like I say, in the meantime, the best thing you can do is protect yourself with the good old, repellents. And once again, the bed nets, they come in handy also. So that's all interesting stuff. I'm just going to go back to the comments and say hello to who I haven't said hello to. Mark Loveridge. G'day, Mark. Thanks for coming along, mate. Niall, thank you for coming along. How you going? James, how are you? I haven't spoken to you for a while. How you doing, James? Hope you're fit and healthy and well. Yeah, that's the thing, Jürgen. There is a lot of mosquitoes, and there was one village up near Chiang Rai. They took it upon themselves, as well as the fogging daily. The residents were going out and making sure there was, no water, no larvae around. And they went from being one of the highest areas to the lowest area, which is, that's due diligence. That's what pretty well did it, which is I know that was a bit of a boring story for you, but I've talked about these kind of things before because unfortunately people die. And I wouldn't like to see any of our subscribers or viewers, get dengue or malaria or any of that. When a few precautions can be taken. Apparently, mosquitoes like bright colours. So if you don't wear bright colours, that's helpful. And for the ladies out there, mosquitoes love perfume. So if you're attracting the wrong kind of thing with the perfume. But anyhow, so look, we'll move along on the next story. And it's another one which is interesting because it's something we all do. The famous Thai street food stalls that line up the street, 7-Eleven. And that tasty little treats. And it's a bit of fun having them cooked in front of you. Well, it all sounds good. All those beautiful little treats there. Well, thanks to the Nutrition Association of Thailand, under patronage with Her Royal Highness Maha Jakri Sinraton. She and her colleagues did a study as far as nutrition and bacterias. They targeted, there was 50 items in the target group, and they were analysed, and shock horror, and I mean shock horror, 42% of them had high microorganisms. And I think it was about 20 samples out of the 50 had E. coli. Now, a coli won't just sit you on the toilet for a couple of minutes or anything like that. If you're getting that badly, infected, unfortunately, that can result in people dying. Yeah. and that's not good. But it was interesting from the five main groups that were tested that had the high microorganisms, in other words, bugs in it, and the E. coli's were some of the favourites. And these are just not in any order. Red pork rice, crunchy pork rice, chicken rice, leg pork rice. And the one that really surprised me was papaya salad. So when you thought it was safe, maybe 7-Eleven food's not all that bad. Or be on the safe side, just take it home and put it in the microwave and give it a bit of a zap to bring up the higher temperatures, and that will kill the bacteria. So, I didn't want to scare you away from the lovely little treats, but anyhow. So we'll just we'll move along to the doom and gloom bit of the show. The doom and gloom. Yes, the doom and gloom. The Australian, I'll leave the Australian to last because it is last. The US dollar, 30.58. The English pound, 38 even. The euro, 33.40. Poor old Australian dollar, it's had a bit of a hiding over the last week. It struggled. It just about got to 21, but it's back down to 26.5. That's not real brilliant, but anyhow. The Canadian dollar, 23.05. They've been up and down a little bit also, but they've managed to hold their above the 23, which is good. And Jürgen, yes, mate, I forgot your currency. I forgot yours today. Sorry about that. G'day, Andy. How you doing, mate? Thanks for coming along. Jürgen, from that study that was done, it was a lot of food was straight out, like it was cooked in front of people and not really sitting out. So, it was a bit surprising. That's why I brought it up. But anyhow, there's always those wonderful little tasty treats on the sidewalk, when you're walking around. I was just reading Maggie's comment. Mosquitoes don't like bright colours. I'm dark skinned and the mozzies love her. Well, actually, there was a research study that I got that off, that stuff off Maggie, and they were actually saying that the like brighter colours, as in clothing, but mosquitoes do like shadows and nighttime and all that. But I don't think skin colour's got a lot to do with it, because when I go over, it's like one mosquito gets a bit of a taste and then tells all his mates, and it's like a Farang restaurant open for mosquitoes. Yeah, and we don't buy the little pump packs of the spray. We buy it by the 20-litre drum. Yeah, just about have a bath in the stuff. But yeah, that is somewhat seasonal too. But water laying around and all that, that's the perfect breeding ground. Now, a little bit of input tonight, just to get the brains going. I thought a good subject to talk about was, like, well, we've got Maggie here, so that we can do it both ways. And when is the partnership, relationship change from kind of a person you know or would like to know to, when, is when you or you're really into her and things like that? What's those signs that you look for or you hope to see? And those guys, I'm just reading the comments. Yeah, some people said vitamin B, getting vitamin B in it. I tell you what, Andy, that Bushman's repellent, I took it up to the Tecumseh one there, and I'm sure the mosquitoes. I put that on, and I think every mosquito coming out of bloody Thailand to come up, and the little pump pack you get in 7-Eleven, the pink thingo, I swear by that one now. I used to take the Bushmans and Aerogard. They drink the tin and throw it back at you. yeah. Anyhow, back onto the subject. Yeah. So when's is it the first date, or is it where you maybe just go and have a cup of coffee or a lemonade, something somewhere, or buy a 7-Eleven snack or some food off the food cart. Is that that's every relationship starts off. But when do you kind of say, well, I know that she's the one for me, or he's the one for me, and that it's returned? Q. Why do Westerners see Thailand as a girl sex shop of the world? Disgusting. And the whole thing about it, I don't, and I think most of the people here. Everyone here has either got a love for Thailand or have a Thai partner. And realistically, yes, the country sometimes is, only certain areas is poor trade, but by Westerners. Not necessarily everybody has that view. I certainly don't. There's places I enjoy going, which is virtually all over Thailand, but I don't go to the night spots and stuff like that. That's not what I do. So realistically, I can understand your question. Maggie says, before I chose my boyfriend, I looked at his demeanor. Yeah, how much time he'd spend with you and whatever, talking, the same topic. That's correct. And that's another thing, the English part of it. And that's what I found, like on a personal thing. I don't know where it is now, but I had a English Thai translator book with common phrases and words and things like that in it. And we had those times where not really understanding. So out had come the book, and I could and the book was written actually really good. It was broken up. The words were broken up so you didn't really kill it when you were saying the Thai words. It came out saying half decent, So that was really good. But the other thing is that was a learning experience with both of us. That Nitsa learnt that bit of English for me. I learned a little bit of Thai. So that is a stumbling block. That is a stumbling block for some people, because if you can't actually converse and have full understanding both sides, it can be very frustrating. So that in itself at times ruins a relationship. And that's when you know, like from the man's side of it and Maggie's side, when people to try and converse with you, if your English is very, very poor, which Maggie's is very, very good actually, that how much are you willing to put into the relationship, and how much she is also, and it can go around the other way, he and she both. But from my own experiences, I basically knew that once we got to the stage that we wanted to learn about each other, and we kind of moved on. When I got invited up to meet the family, because realistically you're not going to go up to meet the family, because we know what villages are like, and and I think Maggie will talk to me, back me up on that one, by saying that if you take a boyfriend or whatever up to the village. Hello, Stephen. How you going, mate? If you take your girlfriend, or girlfriend takes you up to the village or whatever, and that relationship doesn't blossom or whatever, it's kind of like you lose face a little bit, and it doesn't matter, Thai or whatever, you don't want to lose face. So when you're going to meet somebody's parents and the family, realistically, in my observations, that's when it's the deal's kind of done. That your girlfriend has actually made the decision that you are worthy, and that she wants to introduce you to the parents. It's kind of funny when I was talking to Maggie prior to the live stream on Talkback Thailand last week. We spoke about that, and it was kind of funny. Maggie kind of had to basically convince her her family that a foreigner was worth having, which is same kind of thing. It's just a little bit reversed. Yeah, you're right, Maggie. It's unfortunate. It is unfortunate at times that that some people say what they say about bar girls or whatever. I'm not saying that they're bad people or whatever. Everybody does what they do to make a living. Yeah, that's correct, Maggie. Myself, I went out and like I say, I visited Thailand and went out and explored Thailand. And like I say, bars aren't really on my agenda. It's I mean, I'll go to a beer bar, have a few beers and things like that, but I don't really go to the entertainment bars or those kind of, because it's half the time because I'll walk past them because the music's that loud you can't even hear somebody if you want to have a chat to them anyway. But Q, what's wrong with the girls in your own country? Nothing. I had a relationship that went wrong, and I'm not saying there was the women in. I'm not saying that it was just the thing about it. Was I started traveling, and I met a lot of people, but the values, I found my wife's values were different to the ex-wife's values, very much so, and that is because she is, well, she is Thai, but the other thing is predominantly in Southeast Asia, is where I've travelled. I find the family unit and after each other is a little bit more than, say, in this country where it's somewhat a I'm right and stuff you type of thing. That's my main reason, and it wasn't a conscious thing of I'm going to find myself a Thai wife or whatever. When Nitsa and I met, we were both open to the idea, but the whole thing about it was it wasn't the be all or end all. Yeah, you're right, Maggie. But like I say, I can't really comment on that, Maggie, because like if I go to a bar, it's to have a few beers, and it's usually with somebody else. So I want service. Obviously, you're going to have somebody serve you. All right, you give them a tip. That's fine. But I'm there to have a few beers, talk to who I'm talking to, and it's usually like an arranged meet up, or I go with somebody else. Really, that's when I'll go to a bar. But prior to my last trip into Bangkok, I only even in this country, I might go to the bar basically once a month. We've got what they call the Return Servicemen's League. We go up in the better weather. We'll go up on a Friday night because they have a raffle and a bit of entertainment and things like that. But realistically, as a person, that's not really me to hang around a bar, because Thailand's a wonderful place and there's a lot to see. So why sit in a bar stool? Yeah, Andy, there's nothing wrong to an Aussie girl. Look, I'm not saying that Aussies women are bad or whatever. Relationship fails in every country in the world, so it's as simple as that. But it's yeah, good one, Niall. It depends on your own definition, of love, what love is. Yeah. I can swing into song if I could sing, Niall. I want to know what love is. Well, you don't want to hear my voice, do you? Yes, Andy. Good meals at the RSL. Not expensive, and the Friday night raffle's good. They have the Saturday night entertainment. We don't really worry about that. Yeah, but it's good to get out and about. But like I say, I've travelled to a lot of countries. Thanks, Maggie. You don't want me to sing it for you. I've travelled a lot of countries, and I you know, like you'll go and have a beer in a bar or a place or whatever. Yeah, you'll meet other people, which is a good thing sometimes. Swingers Nile, that's the go. Yeah, look, everybody to their own, mate. Everybody to their own. You know, the one thing about it is if you've got a partner and you're happy, or if you haven't got a partner and you're happy, you don't have to fit into, oh, you've got to have this, and that's, in a way, that's one of the things in kind of in Southeast Asia that I've noticed. That women or girls, you know, by a certain age, are kind of, oh, you should be married, and all those kind of things. I'm not saying that anybody's getting forced to get married, but I suppose when I grew up here, realistically, if you got to 30 years old and you weren't married, you were virtually kind of like thrown in the scrap pile type of thing. Sorry, Q, I don't read Thai. If you could write in English for me, I'll certainly answer your question. Yeah, it's one of those things that some cultures, some countries, whatever, they kind of have a little thing about, oh, you should be married and you should be doing this and you should be doing that. Well, that works for majority, but it's not all. But that's why they have divorce rates. But it's one of those things. But anyhow, it's been wonderful to talk to you tonight. I thank you for your support. And I'm going to sign out. And I'll see you next week with a couple of little items. And we'll find a little topic to have a bit of a chat about next week and spend a bit of time with each other. Anyhow, once again, I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you haven't hit the thumbs up, you're right, Maggie. That at times it takes two to make a relationship, not one and a bit. That's for sure. So anyhow, with that, I'll signing out, and look, I hope all of you stay in good health. Until I see you next week, stay safe, take care. Johnny out. Good night. Bye.